YouTube, what is up, man? It's your boy Jason from the Lock Talk, and we're back for another NBA game day breakdown for today, March 12th, 2025. And we have 9 games on the slate today. So I'm locked in. I found some sharp angles and another great breakdown for you guys today. So again, you want these high value plays and you want to see me keep on coming up here to drop these plays. Please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know your best plays. Who do you guys like the most today? And put a thumbs up for that YouTube algorithm, and let's go crack the books today, man. I'm staying locked in. I'm 7-1 in our last 8 games in premium so far, and we've actually killing basketball, bro. I haven't touched any NCAA yet, but I probably will today or at least later on this week, as I think a lot of the games I do want to attack will be later on in the week. And man, it's March Madness. It's all basketball from here. But as soon as you know it, man, baseball will be back. But again, like I said in my last video, we did fairly well in my last YouTube video. Go check it out. But we got to be careful. There will be some spots where teams can be tanking. Minutes will be weird. But I will mention all of that in this video. So stick with me and let's stay locked in. All right, guys, let me talk about the first game on the board. And I'm going to start off with probably the hottest game, in my opinion, on the sheet today. And that's going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Boston Celtics, man. This one's a big one, bro. First up, everyone's going to be watching this game. This isn't just a regular season game. This could be a finals preview. Steve, in my opinion, is going to win it all, but we'll find out. OKC has covered 15 out of the last 17 games against the top 10 teams. So the top 10 offenses this year. While Boston, they've been 8-9 in these spots. They are playing in Boston, which is, in terms of winning, a better spot for them. The biggest thing in this game is really this way Boston plays. They play, I guess, a slower paced game when they play teams who play at a very fast pace. Oklahoma City Thunder actually have one of the faster paces in the league, especially in the last 7 days, top 5 in pace. But even when that has happened, Boston has forced teams to play fairly slow. So I expect probably maybe a slower paced game and more defensive game, even though OKC's defense has not been the best. I'll also mention this. Jalen Williams, the one that's a starter, he will be out. I don't know how long he's going to be gone for, but that's a huge miss for OKC. In terms of the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, Tatum are game time decisions. I don't think Kristaps Porzingis plays at all. I mean, OKC is definitely a little bit shorthanded in my opinion, given that they're missing part one of their best players, bro. But even so, OKC still has a pretty deep team. They still have Shai playing. They have Chet Holmgren playing the power forward. And they have Aaron Wiggins now starting in this game, who I think has been excellent since the All-Star break was beginning of 2025. I think will be a very closely contested game. As you can see, the line movement, basically the public slightly on Boston, but it's pretty much even in my opinion. Where I lean in this game, this line has definitely been moving a lot. This game, I believe this line opened up at around 4.5. You can see up here. Now it's at 2.5. So basically a pick'em game. I don't know. I think Boston, their defense has been a little bit better. I mean, at least of the last 7 games. But it makes it so hard, bro. Oklahoma City Thunder still been a top 10 defense. Boston has not been as consistent as I like to see them. I mean, we've seen them start off very, very fast, have big leads, but then also at the same time give it up. I think this could be a slower paced game. So I kind of leaning under this game. And if that's the case, I think in the coin flip type game when you're getting points, I would have loved it at 4. I was making this video a little bit later since the line movement. I would lean OKC. I'm just probably gonna watch this game. I might not even bet anything in this game. Might watch just as a fan, but also as a bettor. But not too much for me there. I will lean with OKC with the points. That will be my first play on this game. And all right, guys, the next game on the board I'm looking at is the Charlotte Hornets against the Atlanta Hawks. 2 teams that, I mean, Hawks have a lot more to play for, that's for sure. But Hornets, 7.5-point dogs. I believe earlier in the day it was around 8.5. So this line has definitely moved a good amount. But Charlotte has been bad, terrible. But you know what they've been pretty good at recently? And that's been covering against teams who attack the paint. And Atlanta Hawks, one of the heaviest teams in terms of attacking the rim, paint frequency. Charlotte, they are 5-2 at the spread in the top 5 teams who attack the paint. So this could be a possible good matchup, especially since they have Mark Williams back and some of their, I guess, bigger guys. The big issue in this game is this. Is Trae Young going to sit? Right now, on this sheet, they don't have, let's see, right here, game time decision. If he does sit, I mean, I think this is way too many points for the Hawks. So you could take an early stab at this. I mean, some people probably already did at 8.5. My lean, given the things I just said, would be with the Charlotte Hornets with the points. I do think there's some good matchups on the player prop side, even though, I mean, both teams have been having terrible defenses. Charlotte offense definitely not been that great either. But Atlanta, bottom three defense. Charlotte's defense actually not been as terrible. They still been a bottom tier defense, I believe. But I mean, they've actually moved up to about league average over the last 7 games. So maybe Charlotte's defense in this matchup can step it up. And if they have LaMelo Ball, which I see he is supposed to play with Mark Williams and PJ and Miles Bridges, yeah, I like the Charlotte Hornets, man, plus the points, especially if Trae Young sits. This line will definitely move down probably to like 4.5, 5. So, I mean, I think even if he does play, this line can move to 8. But I would probably move on early if you want to ride with me on the Charlotte side. I think Charlotte, with all these points, is a good spot in this game. All right, game 3. Let's see. Game 3, we've got the 76ers against the Toronto Raptors. And this game is very tough because, I mean, the 76ers have kind of said that they're going to test out their minutes for all their players, which makes this game very hard to cap because if you don't know the minutes for all these guys, it's hard to do props, but it's also even hard to bet the line because you don't know, like, the efficiency numbers, the defensive numbers are kind of relying on minutes played by certain people. So tough. Toronto Raptors also on the other side having a lot of injuries, man. No RJ Barrett, no Grady Dick still, no Emmanuel Quickly, no Obaji still. So, I mean, Toronto Raptors will have a very thin lineup tonight. And we don't even know if Scotty Barnes is playing, who was probably their best player. It just makes this game tough. 3.5 points. I think this line was around 4 earlier today. So, the one thing I will say is both teams are pretty much tanking. Philly has been terrible, 2-8 in their last 10 games at the spread. Toronto is 14-5. I saw this very interesting stat. 14-5 against bottom 10 defenses, which the 76ers have been flirting with the worst to bottom 5, bottom 10 for the last month, call it that. I mean, tough to call because I don't really know exactly if Scotty Barnes is playing. If Scotty Barnes plays, I definitely like this line at 3.5. Obviously, if he doesn't play, can they still cover this line? I mean, possibly, but won't love it as much. I'd say right now, I take a shot with Toronto. I think at home has been their best spot. Philly has been so unreliable. And given the fact that they're testing their lineup, doesn't make me too confident to back them in any way. I think Toronto laying the 3.5. And if Scotty Barnes does play, which right now it's 50-50, if he plays, great. If he doesn't, of course, doesn't make me as confident. But it's a game I probably would avoid. But I will go with Toronto in this spot. And all right, let's talk about this next game. I got this on my sheet. The next game on the board I got is the Dallas Mavericks against the San Antonio Spurs. Dallas getting 5.5 points on the road. They were, I believe, 6 points earlier today. And they just played this team, bro. They beat San Antonio outright 133-129. Really good game. I mean, I had a prop on Klay Thompson over 18 points. He got, I think, like 25 points in that game. This is a rematch from 2 nights ago, obviously. So a very high total in this game as well. I believe this total, 237. I mean, going off the last game, they scored, 262 points in their last game. So, I guess it makes sense. Both teams are bottom 5 in rebounding. I mean, they're both missing their size, right? AD, Gafford, not on the Mavericks side. And then, of course, on the Spurs side, no Wembanyama. Mavericks are 16-4 to the over versus bottom 10 rebounding teams. So that's another stat that you could look at if you want to go over and over. But, of course, this over is very high. Both defenses have been pretty much terrible. The San Antonio Spurs are the worst defense in the last 7 games. I said that before. And Mavericks, bottom 5. I think this total can possibly go in terms of like where the line will go. I think this total can go to like the 240 range. I think a lot of people will probably bet this. I like this over if it stays under 240 because 240 doesn't matter what the stats say. All you need is a few mishaps, some missed shots, the pace to slow down a little bit for you to miss that total. But in terms of like the spread, like I said in my last game, look, the Dallas Mavericks, they will have a very thin lineup. There's a possibility that PG Washington does play. So that's like probably the biggest thing in this game that's different from the last game is, does he play? Because he provides defense and a lot of offense. If he does play, I like the spread at Dallas, bro, plus 5.5. He's a big piece of this game. Also, Dr. Exum is a game time decision as well. So if he does play, that affects props for a lot of these guys. So I can't even look at props right now because we don't know the status of Dante or PJ. If they both play, I think Dallas plus 5.5 is definitely where I would go. If they both play, over under could be difficult because PJ does provide some defense, which could slow this pace down. But overall, I will lean with the Mavericks and I will lean with the over anywhere under 239, under 240. But yeah, tough game. You have to wait for this injury report because these injuries are huge for the Mavericks. And even on the other side, Evan Vassell, he's a game time decision. That's big. And so is Jeremy Sohan. Sohan provides a lot of defense as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things said. I would probably wait till the injury report. But right now, I guess my lean would be not just because they won last game, but I do think because the Spurs defense is so bad, obviously depending on the injury report, I will lean with Mavericks in this game. All right, guys, let's see. So about this next game. In this game should be a fireworks game, bro, because we have some of the fastest paces, worst defenses as of late, at least. The Utah Jazz against the Memphis Grizzlies, and talk about a high total. 247.5, bro. This is insane. Memphis, they have fallen off a cliff, bro. Even though their record is 41-24, we don't care. We are sports bettors. They are 1-10 in their last 11 games. I believe they only covered one time, and that was in February 11th. But Utah has been just as bad, man. I mean, in terms of covering, they covered 7. Let's see. Utah has been just as bad in terms of winning. In terms of covering, they are 7-10 in their last 10. So covering in 70% of their last 10 games, which is amazing. Memphis, I think their biggest thing has been Jaren Jackson has been out. So they're missing them on the defensive side, the offensive side, getting size. And not only that, in terms of size, the Memphis Grizzlies might be missing my boy, Young Yao Ming, Zach Edey. He's been a wagon for us. He may not be playing tonight. So that's a big one. Obviously, the big thing on the Jazz always is the injury report. Laurie Markin and Dante Jordan Clarkson may or may not play. It looks like in terms of starters, Doc Collins, Kessler, and Sexton will be playing. So that's pretty big. Obviously, if Markkinen plays and a bunch of these other guys play, you might get the full lineup, but I doubt it, bro. I haven't seen a game where all these guys have been GTD and they end up playing. So overall, man, I think Grizzlies have just been getting smoked because they're lacking their size. They are very injured, especially if Edey's out. I mean, who do they have, man? I mean, there's no size to compete with Kessler, and especially if Markkinen comes back. So as of right now, man, I think this will be a very fast-paced shootout type game. Utah usually a little bit better at home, but I think there's way too many points given the performance Memphis has been playing, man. I mean, their defense has definitely taken a big step down. Bottom quartile, Utah Jazz, not much better, but they have certain these guys back. They will have a size advantage. I think they have the advantage on the rebounding side, so I think they'll get second chance points. Give me Utah plus 11.5. But I've seen this line go as high as 13. Obviously, the injury report will dictate the movement on this line, but yeah, that's where I would go in this game. And all right, guys, we are halfway there, guys. If you've been enjoying this type of content, man, please hit that subscribe button. And I do want to mention, guys, if you've been watching this and you want to get in my premium, see me put that work in on Instagram for a free week, go to that pinned comment down below. I'll put something in the description as well so you guys can join for a free week. Not only that, you get bonus money for all our partner apps, include NOVIG and Vivid Picks. So definitely check them out, man. They're available in most states, even if you're in a state like Texas and California and Florida. But even if you're in Jersey, New York, like myself, you can use apps like NOVIG. Great apps, bro. I think they give insanely good value, and you get deposit and discount bonuses when signing up with our link and code. So definitely check them out. I'll put it in that description and pin comment. All right, guys, let's talk about the 6th game on the board. We have the Knicks against the Portland Trailblazers, and let me see where it's at right here. Portland Trailblazers, Knicks laying 3.5 points on the road, and in terms of injuries, man, on both sides, no Brunson for the Knicks and no Indian on the Portland Trailblazers. Jeremy Grant is also supposed to be a game time decision, but in some places I see that he's actually out, so I don't think he's a game time decision, at least on what this sheet says. So Portland, I mean, they definitely taken a step down. The Knicks have been playing okay, man. I mean, I want to wait for this injury report, but I do think in terms of players that can play well, I think Josh Hart has a good spot in terms of rebounding. Portland giving up a lot of rebounds to small forwards. And then on the Knicks side, they are very weak against point guards. So guys like Simons and probably maybe Sharp, they could be a good spot to look at. In terms of who I think possibly wins this game, man, I'll probably lean with the Knicks, man, even without Brunson, kind of things I just said. I think the Knicks are overall the better team. They play with pace. I think they have a better defense as of late, one of the best defenses as of the last 7 days. So I think they could possibly lock down Trailblazers team who have not been as good offensively. Give me the Knicks -3.5. A little bit of a homer pick, but yeah, I mean, I'm not super love this game. I actually like props a lot more in this game versus betting a side or a total. All right, guys, game 7. We have a West Coast battle, a pretty important game, especially for the Suns who need to win these games. And even the Rockets want to maintain their spot in the playoffs. Rockets 4.5-point favorites at home. The Rockets, they're 7-3 in their last 10 games at the spread. Suns are playing to win though. I believe, KD and all these guys will play major minutes. In terms of over under, this is a tough game, bro. I mean, the Suns still a bottom 5 team in their defense. The Rockets top 5, and I've been saying this across many videos. I think defense has been winning games. Defense has been what teams have been relying on to stay winning and covering spreads. So I'm already partially leaning on the Rockets because I think the Rockets have just been, especially with Van Fleet being back, somewhere I trust, man. I mean, the Rockets have been a wagon. In terms of where the public's been betting, I think right now it's been pretty even. Suns, everyone knows they need to win these games, but hey, they're supposed to beat the Grizzlies, and I've been telling you the Grizzlies have been having a terrible defense, and they couldn't even win them out right there. But where I'll go in this game, man, I think there's some good matchups for a lot of these guys on the Rockets team. Green, Sengun. But on the Phoenix, I think Booker. I think a lot of these sides have been because that Fleet has not been playing. Booker has a good spot as well, but like I said in other videos, you don't know who pops off because they have so many dudes that they can't go to. Booker, Beal, Durant, and even like to a certain extent, like Nurkic when he does play off the bench, he gets like a lot of usage as well. Big injury on the Houston side is that Amen Thompson is out, so I mean he's been a big piece as of late on this team this year. So where would I go in this game? Look, I understand what the Phoenix Suns need to win this game, but I think the Houston Rockets at home, they have not been good as covering at home as they have before. But in terms of playing, they definitely have been playing much better at home. Now they got Van Fleet back. I think this team, the Rockets, are a top team when Van Fleet is playing. And we've seen it, man, since he's been back. They've been definitely taking the reins and playing much better defensively. So give me the Rockets -4.5. I think they win this game outright and cover the spread. And put, the Suns in trouble for their playoff picture. Let's see. All right. Let's see. I think I got to talk about maybe one more game. Yeah, one more game. And I'm out of here, guys. Let's talk about two more games. I'm sorry. 2 more games, and I'm out of here. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Clippers against the Miami Heat. And look, man. Let me see. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Okay, my screen froze a little bit. Look, Clippers on a back-to-back. They struggle in these spots. They are 5-8 at the spread on 0 days rest. So it's not been good. Miami's defense has been elite, bro. That's when I've been liking the Miami Heat, especially when they're playing on small spreads, even especially when they're dogs. But Miami's defense has been elite, but they struggle against teams that shoot a lot of threes. And in terms of the offense of what, the Clippers like to do, at least this season so far, they're not a big 3-point shooting team. I wouldn't even categorize them as like anything too much. They're pretty balanced. Clippers, I think it's a good matchup for them, for the Miami defense. If you attack the rim or the mid-range, Miami this season has been pretty effective there, but not at the rims. I mean, Clippers, we'll see with Zubac, Harden, when he likes to drive it to the paint. We'll see how they do there. But Clippers, man, one stat I did find is that they are 6-1 at the spread against slower paced teams, and Miami is definitely historically and notoriously a slow-paced team. The big thing on this game is the injury report. So Kawhi, I believe I saw in the report that he is a game-time decision. And if he's a game-time decision, actually, never mind. It looks like he's playing, man. I think they know they need to win this game because they lost their last game against the Pelicans. Tough spot. I think it's truly a pick-em game. Slides 1.5 now. It was 2.5. I think people are definitely going to be on the Clippers. We'll see, man. I mean, I'm not super confident with the Clippers on the road in terms of covering big spreads, but now it's a very reasonable spread. They're dogs in this spot. Can they win this game? Maybe. But I'd still lean with the Miami Heat, bro. I think their defense and the way they play, their style, is a decent matchup against this Clippers team. So, yeah, give me the Miami Heat laying the points. You could probably do money line now if it's 1.5. It's basically a pick 'em game. Miami Heat on the back-to-back with travel. I like the Miami in the spot. And all right, guys, last game on the board. I do want to say thank you so much for staying with me this long. You've been here, and there's another big game. This could be a possible West Coast Finals type game. We do have the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Denver Nuggets, man. Minnesota has already beat the Denver Nuggets twice this year, and now they got Rudy Gobert back, so that's a huge one. And they also have Julius Randle back. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries so far. Some key trends that I found is that the Nuggets are 1-7 against top 5 3-point shooting teams, and I mean Minnesota just chucks up threes, man. I mean it's been a change in their identity. Anthony Edwards has been one of those guys, and Minnesota is third in 3-point frequency. I think the big thing for me is if Gobert plays. Gobert is not 100% yet. If they don't have him, I mean Nas Reed is good, but I don't think they can really cover Jokic like that. Not to say that anyone can really 100% cover him, but I definitely would trust Gobert a little bit more than Nas Reed. Other than that, Denver doesn't have Gordon still. So Jamal Murray will be playing the shooting guard as Westbrook will be playing the point guard position, which I think is totally fine, bro. When Westbrook played the point guard position, him and Jokic were killing it together. So I kind of like this, man. But in terms of like where I would lean in this game, in terms of Denver laying 4 points at home, they go crazy at home. Minnesota's best spot has been on the road so far, especially if they're getting points. I think if Gobert plays, I kind of want to lean with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think, again, they'll shoot the threes, they'll get the shots. Denver's defense has not been like super amazing. In the last 7 days, they've been bottom quartile in the league, just touching that area. Minnesota, however, at the same time, I mean, they've not been top 5, but they're top 10 in their defense, especially if Gobert comes back. So I think getting points in a game where I think is very 50-50, give me the Minnesota Timberwolves, guys. But guys, thank you so much for tapping and watching this video. It's been helpful. Put a thumbs up. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. Talk to you soon.